Samantha Jacob, welcome to Cat on the Loose.
Thank you.
We're stoked to be here.
I don't even have words. I'm so excited. It's such an honor. I was saying before we got started, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of your work. And mostly, I'm a fan of your vibe.
Thank
I
you.
love you guys have the best energy.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Honestly, we saw that right away. We were like, okay, she's the right person to sit down with.
I feel very honored because I'm sure a lot of people are going to try to invite you guys, and because your story is so rich. So I want to pack up as much information as we possibly can because, let's do this fast and furious in 45 minutes. I know, Jacob, you have a huge, massive audience on social media. It's adorable how you tell people to follow Samantha more and more, because I hope the whole world finds out about her. But for people that don't know you guys, so let's rewind the story and then we'll get to the wedding and everything else. You guys been together for 6 years, right? A long time. You just
8 almost,
Yeah, almost
right?
8.
almost 8.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
I know.
This is like long
Crazy.
term.
I know.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know, tell us, like in a nutshell, how did you meet, and how did you decide? Okay, let's be a couple. We love and adore each other.
Yeah. Do you want to start?
Sure. Well, so it was 2015. It was the Monday after Thanksgiving, and I was in LA most of the time. I hadn't fully lived in LA or fully moved, and
Okay, so where are you from?
I'm from San Diego.
Oh, okay.
So I was bopping between contracts, kind of going, like traveling to Northern California, wherever a theater contract would take me. But there was an audition happening the Monday after Thanksgiving. I was exhausted. I was like, I don't want to drive down to San Diego and do this audition because I know how their auditions are. They take all day. It's like one of those places where you audition and then they do the callbacks on the same day, which is kind of unheard of in the theater industry.
Right.
It's usually like you audition, maybe
you
you get a
wait,
callback days later. And so I was just like not feeling it. But then something told me to go. And I would regret it. Like
Yes.
I wasn't gonna go, and then at the last minute, just my gut was like, just go. And so I drove down, and I sang, and ended up getting a callback. Then they make the cuts, and they keep the people for the callbacks. So I was there all day, and then I go in for the role of Fruma Sarah. This is for Fiddler on the Roof, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Do you know Fiddler on the Roof?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so
of
Fruma
course.
Sarah is the crazy witch in the dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll let Jacob take the story from here because this is where he
So
kind
I'm
of...
sitting in the lobby, and they bring the people in who are doing Fruma Sarah, and it's like quiet, and there's like all that tension for at an audition that there goes on, and all of a sudden there's just this like through the walls, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Because that was like a person. That person has balls. Even though that's women in there, that person has cojones to make that sort of noise in a place like that. And I was like, whoever that is an immaculate person.
I love it.
Yeah.
So it didn't scare you away. On the contrary, you were attracted to
Oh, I
it.
was immediately like, wow. Because, everybody's trying to put on their best or
Yeah.
their airs and be
Yeah.
something else. And that the whole point is to just be like crazy
Yeah.
and be
And
full
it
force.
literally says in the script, she screams.
Yeah.
So that was my version
Yeah,
of a scream.
yeah.
And no one was screaming.
No, there was
So
not.
I'm like, if I'm going to get this, it's because I'm going to scream.
Yeah.
So you met her.
Yes, they all come out of the room, and I know who it is. I mean, there's multiple people, but I just said that's the person who made that cackle. And I was like, if they don't give you that part, they're crazy, because that was something.
And then, later that week, they gave us the offers, and Jacob ended up booking it too.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't start rehearsals until the beginning of January, so we didn't have any communication until then. And then the first rehearsal, we're singing through the score. They're teaching you the parts of the music. And then there's a break, and I'm sitting in the lobby, and I'm, very into water. So I had these 2 giant, water bottles, and Jacob approached me and started talking to me about my water because he just...
I believe in clean drinking water, and
Yeah.
it was just but immediately it's like, okay, this is something more than anybody else I've ever met. And it's an immediate, we just want to be together all the time.
Aw.
And so this place where we were doing the show, you live on a resort for
They
like
house you like in
Oh,
a
how
villa.
nice.
yeah, so you really, connect with the people
Yeah.
who are living there. And we were both living there. And so we would hang out every single day and it would go till 4 a.m. And I would leave and it would be this kind of weird thing where it's like, I'm leaving now, but it felt like I didn't want to. And
Aw.
yeah, there was like this.
So it was like the universe. It was
It
something
was.
magical.
Yes.
But now, okay, so then the story complicates for people who don't know you, who are not you.
Right.
Because you're gay. You're
Right.
an openly gay man,
Right.
and you're not.
Right.
So did it start, like, did you guys think we're going to be best friends? Or did you, or immediately, like, feel more than that?
I immediately felt confusion. I very distinctly remember maybe like the second or third time we hung out, we went to a restaurant. And I remember picking Samantha up and like being like, this is weird. This feels like a date.
And then he paid for my food
Yeah.
and everything. I'm like, why is he paying for my food?
And it was like this
I mean,
weird thing where I was like, this is like weirdly kind of nice. Like I like doing this with this person, but I'm confused because this is a woman.
Right.
And this just isn't a feeling I've had before. And yeah, it was kind of a strange moment. But then I kind of packed that away and was like, oh no, we're friends. And that we went about our relationship as friends. Yeah, for literally 18 months.
Oh, wow.
but it was very confusing for me because I was feeling.
Were
like,
you feeling attracted to him?
Yeah, I mean, aside from just thinking that he's handsome, but
Right.
his soul was
Right,
like I felt this just thing that I could not explain because I've had many gay friends in my life
Yeah.
and never felt
Like
the
that.
way with them that I felt with Jacob. It really kind of, now that I know what it is, the best way I can describe it is you're reuniting with someone you've known in the past. I'm very into energy like you too.
Same, yeah.
So his energy felt familiar and safe, but I just didn't know where to place it and it was confusing because I knew it was gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was definitely a confusing process, but at the same time it was like very practical. It was just like this relationship is working the way it's going, and there was kind of this element of like maybe there is a more of a feeling here, but it was hard to kind of take the leap and explore it because I didn't want to ruin anything and be like, oh, we tried it and now it's awkward because I can't be in a relationship with a woman, and it was scary to mess that up.
Yeah, I can. So, okay, so I'm sure a lot of people out there, and I know you get these questions all the time on social media. So, how did you guys figure out, okay, let's take the leap?
Yeah.
Let's be a couple.
Okay, so
Because I know same, I have a lot of gay friends and I love and adore
Right.
them.
Yeah.
I never felt this connection,
right.
but I just love them as like my best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
But for you guys, obviously, it was so much more. You must have gotten to a point they were like, okay, we want to be more than just friends.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I was just like he had shown up for me for the next 18 months of our lives. Like he was always my opening night date to whatever show we did. Or if I had an extra ticket to something, it went to Jacob. Like he was the first person I thought of and I spent any free time
Yeah.
with. And then I was doing a show in San Diego and I was living with a friend and they had gone to an energy healer and they came back and they were like, oh my gosh, Sam, you have to go see this energy healer because I just feel like the way that she delivered her message to me just like really registered with my soul. And this is someone who I also believe is like sensitive to energy and spiritual. So I was like, I saw a pep in their step. And so I was like, okay, I got to go and do this. And so I went to this store, which is like in Little Italy, San Diego. And it's kind of a hodgepodge of everything. Like you walk in and there's like, they're trying to sell you crystals
Yeah.
and bracelets. They've got a bracelet for everything. And then they have like San Diego ball caps. Like it's a little kiosky too.
It's legit.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Whatever works.
yeah, I mean, really, like if I had walked into this place on my own without a recommendation, I would have been like, this
No
is a
way.
sham.
Yeah.
And maybe it is a sham, but I walk in, I talk to this woman, and she's just kind of like assessing my life. And she's like, do you have anyone? Like, are you seeing anyone? And I was like, well, I have this connection with my best friend and I just don't know what it is. And she like stopped me right there and she's like, look where your hand is. I guess it was like right here. And she's like, your hand is right where your umbilical cord is. So what I'm sensing is that you two share a spiritual umbilical cord.
Oh, wow.
And that like
And that's how you guys feel.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Aw.
feel like it's like written in the stars.
Yeah.
And I guess to explain our energy is like kind of like we're like attached by a cord that really kind of registered.
I wish everybody in the world met a person like that
Yeah.
they feel,
Truly.
yeah, right? Because I mean, I can see it. When I see both of you together, it's just like always so magical.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I feel like that's what we're trying to like encourage people
Yeah.
to do is look for like the person that makes you feel this way.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Right.
Or don't look. Just
Yeah.
feel your real relationships out, and this will guide you. But when people are out there trying to find somebody, it's harder to do that.
No, I agree. I think sometimes it's, at least in my opinion, these things have to be organic.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't push it. You can't
Yeah.
force it. But again, in your case, I guess because most people, right, we grow up with all the stereotypes, what a relationship should be like, what a
Totally.
couple should look like. If you're gay, you're like this. If you're not gay, once you guys decided to be a couple, I mean, everybody around you must have been like, so people ask you if you're bi
Yeah.
or you're not gay, right? You get most of the criticism, right,
Right.
Jacob?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
gay man.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. A lot of people, I think, within the queer community, some people get defensive because I think any marginalized community, when you experience hatred or you experience anything, you become defensive of, no, this is how I feel, and that's understandable. And I think a lot of queer people are saying to me or looking at me and going, well, how can you be gay? Because it sounds like you can change your feelings and suddenly be attracted to women if you're with a woman.
And they think we're like pushing this conversion narrative and giving power to the being gay is a choice
Right.
movement.
Right.
And we're like, not at all.
I don't think you're, well, at least I've never seen from all the 10 millions of videos you guys put out there, I don't think I've ever seen you try to convince somebody to live their lives the way you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're literally talking about your own personal experience. You're not
Right.
saying like you should be like me.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people who reach out to us and say, hey, I have a connection with a gay friend. And we tell them this may not be what we
Right.
have. We have something unique. And please don't try to push yourself on a gay person.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing more awkward.
Annoying.
Oh my
Annoying,
God. Yeah. It's like, this has to be a really,
Okay, so now we know you didn't push yourself on it.
No,
seriously,
no.
she really didn't.
It's a joke. No, I know.
There was so much tension of like, don't like screw this thing up. We both were like, don't screw
Yeah.
this thing up because, oh my God, like,
You didn't want to lose the friendship.
yeah.
In fact, like we'd had sleepovers a few times before and we'd slept in the same bed. And like where other of my gay friends, when I've slept in the bed with them, we would be like, oh, cute, we're spooning. Or like, let's go watch this.
Yeah.
Jacob and I would be like, oh my
looking
gosh.
the other direction. Yeah.
Like, don't touch each other's foot by
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah.
But like if we accidentally would touch each other's foot, it would be like,
You were being extra respectful and careful.
Yeah.
yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, it was just
So it was a journey to
It was a huge
to
journey.
decide like we're gonna be a couple.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. And it wasn't until I went to the energy healer and she gave me this thing where I was like, okay, like I have to tell Jacob about it now.
Right.
I was like, Jacob, I texted him and I was like, that same night, because I was just like, I can't live with this any longer. Like, I will regret the rest of my life, regardless of what the answer is, not at least trying if I don't tell him now. And so I texted him and I was like, do you ever feel more for me than just a friend?
Mhm.
And it was like, I've never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
Like, I never would dare with anyone. But I think,
Because that's very brave. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
Because imagine if he said like, no, you're crazy.
right. And I'm a little like, as like, you know, as like futuristic and
Yeah.
progressive as we are.
Yeah.
I'm a little old-fashioned in the sense where I'm like, I want to be courted. And
I think everybody does,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of like you want to be loved back.
exactly.
Doesn't matter by who it is, but it has to be
Yeah.
mutual, right?
So like the thought of me making the first move was like, I was like, no
you know.
way. Like he must make that. But I just couldn't live with it any longer.
Yeah.
And I just had to at least like throw it out there after I heard the energy healer say this. And so I texted him and asked him if he had any feelings more than a friend for me. And his response was,
What do you mean?
I was like,
That
fuck.
yeah.
What did I do?
Well, because it really, that moment was, I say there were two feelings that happened. There was a lot of confusion and anxiety because now I'm having to confront this out in the open. And there was also like, yeah, I do. And this is something I've been waiting for and kind of wanting to say myself, but didn't have the words or the ability to do so or the courage to do so. And here comes this cackling witch who is able to just have the balls to say things. And it was intense. And it was, so there was a lot of turmoil. But I eventually, after saying, what do you mean? A couple minutes later said, of course I feel more for you and I'm willing to try something here.
And my soul had already left my body at that point when he was like, what do you mean? So I'm like floating around. And then when he said, of course I do, it was like, it literally, I felt like I saw, I mean, like heaven or, it just was like unicorns, magic,
Aw, that's
stars
so
dancing in
sweet.
front of me. It
Yeah.
felt like the universe was giving us this high five that was like, yes, you found each other at the end of
my
a movie.
God,
Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
like the ending music should chime in. And
So you said, let's try something. You guys didn't know. You didn't know you were going to end up getting married years later,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You're
Right.
like, let's try. So
Yeah.
So how do you try? Should be a coin, you're not.
You try and bang.
Did it work?
It worked immediately. And that was like, okay, like that was the telling thing, honestly. There was a lot of fear in me that it wasn't going to work and
Right.
that, I mean, to be explicit, that I wasn't going to be able to get hard.
Right.
And
I'm sure that's because that's what a lot of people are thinking. Because when you say
Yes.
I'm gay,
Right.
and you're very open about it on social media, which that's my style.
Yeah.
I think is the best we can be. Is like you have to be yourself.
you
Yes.
have to
And
be
the more open
honest.
and real you are, I think it's the better.
Yeah.
The best.
1000%.
It's better for our personal lives. It's better for work, for everything we do, right? And you
Yeah.
talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
But of course, if you're gay, you're attracted to men.
right.
Yes.
Right.
As gorgeous and fabulous and beautiful and adorable. Now you're in person, I'm like, you're a little doll.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
you're
thank you.
so beautiful.
You are too.
Thank you. But I'm sure you were wondering, and a lot of people that follow your work and everything are wondering, how did you deal with that, right?
Yeah. It was a really long like what you see now is years of psychological work and going to therapy and even the first few years of our relationship, that was tumultuous. There was a period of a honeymoon stage where we were together and it was blissful and wonderful, but there were a few years where we were in continued confusion and distress, and figuring this thing out and resolving on it was really difficult. And I've never strayed from our relationship. We've been monogamous the entire time.
So it's not like, and forgive me if you don't want to ask, you don't have to. So it's not like you're married, because I think a lot of people are going to ask when they listen to the podcast, and I don't know if they ask you on social media, oh, so you're married to Samantha, but do you go out with men because you're gay?
Right. They absolutely not. And that's shocking to people. And they think, oh, I must be suppressing my queer feelings if I'm not going out there and acting on them, which is completely not the case. The thing that suppresses it is not being able to verbalize it. And so eventually because I was still having this blockade of talking about it this way, and therapy helped. And the most helpful thing was we eventually got to this point where we said we need to go to a couples therapist and say we need to talk to somebody about this dynamic. It's not represented at all.
Right.
You can't think
No,
of a
yeah.
character on
No.
television, or if there's a character, it's Will and
Let's
Grace.
pitch it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we're
exactly.
trying to do, because it's like if there's a couple characters, Cabaret, Sally Bowles and Cliff.
Oh my God,
the
I never would
musical.
have remembered that one.
Right. But so they have this dynamic. It ends in tragedy. They
Right,
split
right.
up. Sally gets an
Will
abortion.
and Grace, they weren't really
They weren't a couple, exactly.
They
And
were
so-
besties.
right.
Exactly.
And
But-
everybody has a bestie gay friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's a lot of people say, "Oh, you guys are Will and Grace," and we're like, "We're not."
No.
And so there's really nothing. And to show that that's the only thing people have to draw from shows
Yeah.
that this isn't a thing. And so
And it was so we didn't have like any role model or any guidance to think
Right.
that this sort of relationship could work.
Yeah.
We were kind of walking around being like, is this like,
Are
is
we
this crazy?
freaks?
Are we freaks?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna mention. You and I really admire this about you guys. Obviously, you have very strong personalities to make this decision on your own, because I can only imagine the peer pressure or comments. I don't know how your families reacted or friends
yeah.
or everything. You really gotta be strong about who you are and
Yeah.
what
Thank
you
you.
want. Because I think a lot of people in your situation maybe wouldn't even have pursued it because, oh, what is everybody else going to say?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we went to this counselor, this couples counselor, and she's talking to us, and we tell her our dynamic fully, and she's like shocked, and she goes, "Now this is weird because I'm married to a woman, and she's the only woman I've ever been attracted to. I feel I'm straight, but I'm just married to this woman."
Huh, the
And-
other side of the coin.
Yeah,
Huh?
and
Yeah.
it was like a moment where it was like, oh my God, somebody else feels this way. And not only that, she's a couples counselor, knows how to talk about it, and her mind is blown. And we're like, wait a minute, we're not alone.
Yeah.
And that was where we really made a turning point in how we felt, and I think in our comfort in our relationship.
And it wasn't even until a few years ago when a friend of ours was like, and we started talking about like the binary. Our friend was like, your relationship is kind of non-binary in a way. And I was like, okay. And I like took
Well,
that
why?
to heart. I guess because it kind of transcends gender
thing, yeah.
and labels in that way.
But
I didn't take it.
yeah, like I'm not sure, right? Because I'm not an expert. But you're
Yes.
still like a girly girl.
Exactly.
You're a woman.
Yeah.
You're not a lesbian.
Right.
You're not a them, right?
Right.
Using
No,
the
not at
pronouns.
all.
You're like Samantha,
Yeah.
the girl.
Yeah.
And you're Jacob, and you still say it to this day. Like I'm gay, and I had now it was
Right.
the fiance, now it's the wife.
Right. And
And
I
that's
think of
it.
myself as a masculine guy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think of myself as a queenie gay dude. I'm very, and I like the idea of people having whatever they want to feel like. If you're masculine, be masculine.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that I'm attracted to men.
And his identity is so important to him because he was not it took him forever to even just feel safe just saying to the world, I am gay.
Right.
With his upbringing, with
Where you come from?
I'm from Olympia, Washington.
Okay.
And
Is your family there?
My family, some of them live in Washington still, some of them live in Nevada.
Okay.
And it was a conservative upbringing, and and the interesting thing is, through all of this, they've been very accepting.
Oh,
They've
that's
been the most
amazing.
accepting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
great.
the people that we have the hardest time convincing are the woke people or
But
the
listen,
liberal
right.
people.
Why would you try to convince anybody?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
why do you care?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
but it's
And-
funny because some of the people who like go to bat for us in the comments are like conservative women who
Yeah.
are like fighting with people who are like, you are harming the queer community. We're like,
Oh my
don't you
God.
understand the work you've done for the queer community is now
Let me tell you, Samantha, you guys might think I'm crazy, right? Because of course nowadays social media, there's always the trolls, the crazies.
yeah.
Right? I think they're the ones that need the most love.
They do.
Because they're the ones that are unhappy with their own lives.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's really sad if you
Right?
just want to give them more love.
Yeah, like why do you care? Like if somebody
Yeah.
makes a nasty comment or something, or if they don't agree, they're not
Yeah.
involved in your lives and your
Exactly.
happiness.
They have no
like,
idea.
Exactly. Like, whatever. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Like
Yeah.
I say, it's like when they're judging that, they're judging the 1 minute slice that we're giving them in this video. And we get it too because the nature of social media is sensational.
Yeah.
We have to start our videos with, I'm Samantha, I'm marrying a gay man, or I'm
Right.
gay and I'm marrying a woman. And
Yeah.
that it's obnoxious. And to people who watch us, they're like, why do you keep having to say that?
Like it's the package. It's how you reach more people.
Of
Right.
course.
Because you know this, every
Yeah.
video doesn't just go to your followers.
No.
It goes to everybody.
Yeah.
And for the first time you're seeing this, you have to know right off the bat what you're getting.
Yeah. No, and I remember a long time ago, you actually did a video about it. I wasn't even doing TikTok because I don't know how to, I have no time. And you said, this is one of the things that you have to do, like pick like something strong about your personality and your lifestyle,
Yep.
and you put it out there. And you, like, we're going to talk about your top 5 list, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And you talk, in your case, you're like, I get angry and I'm like excited. So you put it out. And I said, yeah, but it's true. You got to repeat the message. That's
Yeah.
how you draw an audience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just like little tweaks, little things, and then it becomes better, or it reaches more people.
And it's kind of like your whole like unedited, unfiltered thing.
Yeah.
I think when you lead with authenticity and you just
Yeah.
put everything out there, some people are going to be like, wait a minute, this must be scripted. I think we're conditioned because there is so much scripted stuff that people want to look for,
Yeah.
where's the shtick in this? And
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
there's a shtick,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
it's still our real life. We just lead with
Yes.
humor and happiness and openness, and we're not
I love
ashamed
that.
of
I think everything you do, whether it's like you said about my work, right? Personal life or work, whatever it is, there's always going to be people that doubt you.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to be jealous of you. Like if you have millions of followers, some people are going to follow you because they love you. Some people are going to follow you because they want to criticize you.
Right.
They want to trash you. They want to take it away from you. Same for me when I started doing the podcast 4 years ago. I was in a super nasty, very abusive marriage for 15 years. Really, really crappy. And the podcast, I started venting about it, you know,
Right.
being back in the horrible world of dating relationships. And I was like, I'm going to be organic. That's me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to be any other way. And I really put my stories out there a lot. And I get a ton of backlash for it.
Right.
Because I open up too much. And why do you do this? And why do you do that? Even like platforms, they're like, oh, if you package this way, and I sticking to my style, that's where I'm getting to where I am, because like we were saying, my audience likes that I'm very honest.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think it's the same with you guys when you tell your story.
Yeah.
You're just really being yourselves. You're not trying to convince anybody to do the same or be the same.
No, and I don't want people who don't like the people we want in our corner are the people who naturally
Yeah.
just see it. And if they don't see it and you want to criticize, that's fine. I'm never going to please you anyway. And also, I don't want your energy around me. I just want
I love
the
that.
love around us. And the
Yeah.
right people always find you.
I finally
Exactly. Finally.
connected. I know. I finally. But before we talk about your work, and we run out of time, finalizing the relationship, you went to and I like that you said that it wasn't like all smooth sailing, right?
Right.
You went through, because like most relationships, right? It takes a lot to build it up.
Yeah.
So you went to the couples therapy, and she related, and then you guys really became a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had been dating for a few years, but that brought us to that place of security a lot more. I mean, a lot of the insecurities that we were facing and weren't able to verbalize came about, and we found other friends that have this dynamic too because of that. And
people reaching out to us that we don't even know that are like, oh my gosh, I thought that I was alone. I'm in this mixed orientation relationship. Now
Oh.
we
Yeah.
have this title, this term
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
And as we're seeing that as we're sharing, there are more people who have this, and it's just kind of like no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's inspiring us to continue to talk about it, because it's not like we're saying this is a new age type of relationship. We're saying these types of relationships exist.
Yeah.
And maybe if we stop focusing on the label so much and the check boxes, and you just focus on the energy and the connection you have with someone, that's really love is love in
Oh
the
my
most simple,
God.
purest terms.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's all about love and who you love. And I think you just did a video about that a few days ago, right? You said, oh, people ask me, why did I get married? And you said, I love her.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's that simple. We share a life together. We've built a life for 8 years. Her family is my family now.
My family likes him more than they like me. No, but you
Equally.
can see,
Yeah. And my mom feels she has a daughter and so many things that just what happen when your lives connect and combine that way.
I am so happy that both your families are supportive.
Yeah.
Completely.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Because I think that's crucial, right? It's one
It
of the
is.
most important parts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is a really good bridge between the people who are still having a hard time accepting queer people and a queer lifestyle or an understanding a queer brain. Because I think a lot of people who are conservative or have an issue with this and is they understand our relationship because it's a classic relationship. It's a man and a woman on the outside. But because I can verbalize this is my attraction, I think they understand that. And I think it's going to unite the two, which is what we want, is straight people in the queer community to get along and come together. And I think that this dynamic is literally like bridging those two things.
I love that.
Yeah. And to me, it feels like I think that's why there are some voices in the queer community or in any community that feel like they need to like shout from the rooftops, no, it's this. Because instead of just like talking about it and explaining things in practical terms, I think people just feel like they have to yell at each other and nothing's getting done. No progress is getting made because it's yell, 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 yell. And if we can just like sit down and just be like, this is who I am. This is why I feel this way. And just be practical about it without judgment. I think that is the key to progress in all types of relationships, dynamics,
God,
identifications.
Yeah.
You know?
1,000,000%. I think, and this is something that I'm never going to understand. Why do people decide like their relationships have to be this box? You know, like if you get married, it has to be a woman and a guy, or
Right.
if you're gay, you have to be this and that.
Right.
And if you're not, but it isn't, right? Because each person has completely different feelings, and you never know who you're gonna love, who you're
Yeah.
gonna find. Like you said, the connection. I don't think it's just physical connection. Obviously, it's mental, it's spiritual, it's so much more than
Yeah.
that. And like you guys just said, love is love.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. Anything else matters, right? All that matters is how you feel and if you guys are happy.
Exactly. And it's such a different feeling than that lustful thing. It's, I joke and say, I'm not looking at her being like that ass and them titties. And, it's not about that. I look at her and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It's the most beautiful being.
And I feel that way when he looks at me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel my most beautiful, amazing self. In fact, I
Right.
feel like since we've been together, I've just evolved into my most happy, authentic version of myself. I feel just safe being Samantha.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But nothing's ever going to change the fact that I'm attracted to men.
Yeah.
That's just
It's
what
just
it
your
is.
nature. And
Yeah.
you must get hit by men all the time, right? I would guess because, there's always the funny thing that, like, I don't know, but I would think like they see, oh, I'm gay and I'm married to her. I would think
Yeah.
a lot of guys are like, let me see if I can get him.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I
Right?
honestly don't experience a lot of that. I mean, every once in a while we experience something,
Like weird energy.
Yeah, we experienced something at a party earlier.
Like that person
and-
gave us weird energy.
Yeah, you can tell, but it's like, it's so yucky because you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want anybody invading my relationship or
Yeah.
trying to interfere with what we have going on.
I love
And we
here.
that.
don't give like the energy I think we give when we're in social situations is no, like
Yeah,
we
it's
are not approachable
clearly-
in that way. We're
Right,
approachable in
right,
other ways.
Right. There's a clear
No,
switch.
I can really, really see the loyalty and the connection
Yeah.
very well. Like
Yeah.
even before I met you guys, like all you have to do is look at the videos and how adorable it is. Everything you guys do and build together, you know?
Thank you.
I can see that. And I love that every single video you're like, follow my fiancé Samantha, follow. And now it's like, follow my
Follow my
wife Samantha,
wife.
follow. I'm like, that
It's
is
hard to remember to say wife now.
Yeah.
And people will yell at him like, she's your wife now.
And I'm thinking every couple in the world world should treat each other like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't-
Regardless of whether you're
Absolutely.
gay, straight, whatever you are, you should have this kind of like loyal. Because to me,
Yes.
loyalty is on top of my list.
Oh, it's
Yes,
the number one
it's
thing.
number one. Loyalty and honesty.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we, to be honest, we have never lied to each other.
Yep.
Like even a little white lie, we were like, we would rather be brutally honest to each other without being
Amazing.
brutal. That's like our thing, brutally honest without being brutal.
Yep. And so many of these like Hollywood relationships, you see them and they're also out for themselves and their own gain. And
Yeah.
you see it. And then one becomes a bigger star and they drop the
Oh,
other
yeah.
person. It's like, what is going on here? Like, why are you not support? You're stronger together. I
Yeah.
mean, you all of these power couples, they're stronger together. And it's like, why is this ruthlessness still existing?
Probably, usually, relationships like that, they didn't have a good foundation.
Exactly.
Right?
It's-
It's very, very weak from the get-go.
Yep.
And it's pretty obvious that you
Superficial.
guys, superficial. And you guys
Yeah.
build it up really solid from many years ago. And I
Yeah.
think that's why you got to this place where you are today.
Right.
And
right.
the beauty, you guys, when did you get, you literally just got married,
2
right?
weeks
in Boca,
ago,
Yeah.
yesterday.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Boca Raton.
Boca Raton?
Why did you guys pick Boca?
Well, my parents moved there a few years
okay.
ago, and it's kind of become this like happy place that my family congregates during Thanksgiving.
Aw.
And we originally were like, well, we wanted kind of like old Hollywood vibes, and we're like checking out spots in Beverly Hills. But we were like, I don't know, this just kind of feels like too noisy. We just
Yeah.
kind of want like a more quiet, intimate, easy thing.
Yeah.
And
South Florida is the original Hollywood because
yeah.
all those people who came over here from New York and built film studios would vacation in Florida back in the 20s or the early
Yeah.
1900s. So they built Hollywood to look like South Florida.
Yeah.
Like the Beverly Hills Hotel looks like one of those Florida places.
Yeah, like the Boca Raton.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
lived there for a really long time.
Really?
You
Yeah.
did in
Yeah.
Boca Raton?
And, well, I met my husband. Now he passed away, the one I told you.
Yeah.
But I met him in Boca. He lived in Boca.
Wow.
His companies, the headquarters were in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
So we would go back and forth between the West Coast and East Coast a lot. But we
Yeah.
were based in Miami, in Boca, because of his work. So for 15 years, I go back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous area.
My sister lives there. I'm
Oh,
a
wow.
California girl. I love
Yeah,
LA. I grew
totally.
up here. Yeah, but I like going there to visit.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
vibe to
Yeah.
visit for a few days.
It's sleepy. It's, yeah, really.
But
The
you guys
palm
are not
trees
going
are
on a
pretty.
honeymoon?
No, we haven't planned one yet. I mean, the Boca was like our honeymoon.
It kind of was like a mini
Oh,
moon.
okay.
And we went to Guatemala a few months ago. Jacob
I saw it on your social
yeah,
media.
because Jacob pissed off the Guatemalan government.
Yes. I said they were the number 6 country with the most kidnappings.
Oh,
and
my
they didn't like
God.
that.
So they
Yeah.
like invited us out to prove
Oh, they
wrong.
invited you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Took us all
Oh,
over
my
the country.
God.
We met the president.
Okay, can you make like the top shittiest restaurants in Beverly Hills and we'll
Oh.
pick the most
Oh,
expensive
my
ones
gosh.
Oh, yes.
and see if they invite us there for dinner?
Literally,
You know
I
what?
know.
I
The
know.
worst luxury car
Yes.
brands.
Yeah, I
Although
know.
we learned,
Worst service.
yeah, I was like, start talking shit about the Maldives. Like,
I know. But let's explain to people what you do because you started this top 5. It's top 5, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's hilarious. Some are serious, some are fun, some
Yeah.
are funny, and you do it like super fast. And
Yeah.
you grew this huge audience. How did you come up with that?
You know, I was just pretty resolute on doing TikTok and being like, we're going to, this is blowing people up. It's making them popular. We need this. And I was doing whatever for 6 months.
like whatever. Like I would come home one day and then he would be like, he like had bought a blonde wig off Amazon
Yeah.
and put a beanie
I was
on.
like this surfer character, and my whole thing was just like watching videos and being like, whoa, dude, this is crazy.
and I
then-
was like, okay.
but
Whatever you want, honey.
you know, you start with big and you just start paring down, and it eventually just comes back to who you are.
Yeah.
And
And his first list he made was we were actually on vacation in Boca Raton.
no, No, the first one was the Orphans
Yeah, I
of
know.
Musical Theater,
That's
but
what I
that
was-
wasn't on vacation. That was here.
That was here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the top 5 orphans of musical theater.
Yeah, because I was just like, oh, we love musicals. Like, let's do a musical theater list. And I had been seeing them on there, like a few people had done them. And I was like, this is an interesting concept because the way the algorithm works, you want to watch videos to the end. That's the biggest thing to make a video successful. And I was like, well, if they're waiting to get to number 1, that makes them watch the whole video. And so
very clever.
yeah, it was like I remember that thought coming and being like, this could be $1 million idea. And that I did it and it did okay. And then like a few weeks later, it kept getting views. And I was like, huh, that kind of worked. And then we were on vacation and I started doing more of them. And then they were like for me, it was like thousands of views. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting out of the hundreds of views, jail and into
me.
Yeah.
I'm in TikTok jail
Yeah.
because I don't do it every day. I don't have time.
Yeah.
My thing is my Instagram is pretty decent. It's
Yeah.
not enormous, but it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
So, time, right?
Exactly. And just over and over
Yeah.
and
You have to do it every day.
Literally
right?
every day.
Literally
And you can't be-
every day.
Exactly. And you
I
cannot
don't
be
take a
too
day
precious about
I know, I see it.
Yeah. The only day I took off was our wedding, but in the last 2.5 years, basically 2.5
Oh my
years.
God.
Yeah.
Christmas
And how do you
Day,
come
every
up with
day.
so many ideas?
I either research them there's so many lists a lot of them I just find online and repeat. And that's actually the funniest because it's like some of these things you're like, what? Why is this on here?
Yeah.
I saw one the other day that I was laughing so hard. You were like the top most popular birthdays. And it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think 4 out of the 5 are September.
Oh, yeah. It's
and you
ridiculous.
were like, I don't know what.
Yeah, but people get buck wild in December.
I love them. I mean, they're so creative.
They're
They're
so
hilarious.
creative. Or like sometimes I'll be like focused working on something else
Yeah.
and he'll be making a video and then he'll just say something and it just like makes me cackle so much because he's so funny.
Yes,
And-
and you get sometimes you don't. I don't know if you honestly get angry, but just like your personality, you're like,
yeah. I lean into this like frustration. I mean, I do have a lot of anger that lives inside of me.
Oh, yeah.
That's my
I love
own
that.
thing.
It's definitely gone down
It's
since
gone
he
down.
started making these lists.
Yeah, it's a really good outlet because it's like put it into being mad at car brands instead of being mad at people or at the world or road rage or wherever it was coming out.
yeah.
But sometimes you will come up with them on your own, like the top 5 worst girl names. Like he's
Yeah.
like, Amy. I just don't like that name, Amy.
Those are the most clickbait. Those are the worst. Those are like, what am I doing? Sometimes I make those and I'm like, what am I doing?
No, they're awesome. And sometimes, like you said, when you read a list that you found somewhere, I think it was the top healthiest foods. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you actually say, you're like, oh, some Harvard dudes
Yeah.
put this list, so they must know what they're saying.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Those Harvard dudes.
So you're very honest about it.
Very.
Very, very real.
Yeah. And like coming back to we were talking about your podcast being organic, unedited.
Yeah.
I found the best method for that. Like I
Yeah.
used to edit them. I used to try to make them jazzier and film them better. No views. The best thing is just one long take
Yeah.
going at it and
It's
posting
kind of
it.
soul crushing in some ways because we're so creative and like at the beginning of our relationship we would like make short films or like funny little shorts all the time.
Yeah.
And so that sort of a thing, like that's what we like thrive and love to do. But then we'll get really excited and make something creative and put it up, and people like don't really care about it
Yeah.
because they really just want to watch you sit and talk.
Yeah.
But I think now maybe you could try that again. I don't know, as you
Yeah.
become more and more famous
Yeah.
and you grow and you're in the media and everything, you could try. Because I know I would love that because I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
his videos. But I also love when you guys, because you have such great chemistry
Yeah.
Thank you.
together. I would definitely come up with something, like
Oh yeah, we
some
have
content
crazy
creation
things.
that
We have
you
some.
could do
Oh, yeah.
together,
Like
Yeah.
we used to walk around town with this mannequin. We drove like an hour and a half away to get a mannequin, and she was like a part of all of our videos. And we like gave her this character. And there was one time we took the mannequin to Caesar's Palace. Just
Oh my God.
like we had these characters, and Jacob was this character, and like we actually got kicked out of Caesar's Palace because they were like,
I
"What
made
are
too
you
much of a scene outside of the
You got
Celine
kicked
Dion
out of
concert.
Caesar's Palace?
Yes.
Wow.
For carrying around
That's
this mannequin.
epic because
Yeah. Well, there was.
can you ever go back?
I know.
You should do a list about them.
I
Maybe
know.
they invite you
should.
back.
I actually said, I think I did put them on the best hotels in Vegas because I do think they're one of the best.
They are.
They're gorgeous. And the shopping, oh my God.
Oh yeah, the forum, right?
Oh, my
yeah,
God, it's so cool.
I
Can't
know.
beat it.
Yeah. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. How many not views, followers you have on TikTok? Millions, right?
2.4 million now.
2.4.
Yeah,
So if
it
you
just
guys are-
became 2.4.
2.4. Holy cow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If
It's
you guys are
crazy.
listening and you want to look at the videos, the account is exactly your name, right?
Yeah,
Jacob
M. Hoff.
M. Hoff with
Yep.
2 F's,
Yep.
guys, as in Frank.
Yep.
And on social media, it's the same
Yep.
for you. And Samantha, I love your name. It's very chic.
Thank you.
Uh,
I know. We've been recently talking about should I be changing my name?
No, you
legally?
should put her last name.
I know.
Jacob Hoff Wynn Greenberg.
I know. I know.
It's so chic. You're going to sound like a British lord.
I know. I
know.
love it. I know. We're like, what would we do for our child? Would they take both of our last names?
Yeah.
I kind of like the
Put
idea.
it all.
Winhoff,
Put it
the
all in
alliteration
there.
of it.
Yeah.
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 It's so chic. Wynn Greenberg Hoff or Hoff Wynn Greenberg. I don't know. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Sounds like you're a princess.
Thank you. I am a princess.
Yeah. Well, you guys, it's such an honor talking to you. You're very inspiring. I honestly don't care whatever the negative, because I think there's always, right? The
yeah.
unhappy a-holes out there.
Exactly.
Means you're
Exactly.
doing something right if you're
Yes.
pissing
Yeah.
someone off.
Like I said, I send them love. Like somebody writes something nasty, I'm like, oh my God, I send you so many kisses and hugs because I'm sure you need it if you're taking time writing something bad on my page.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I hope the entire world finds out about your story because at the end of the day, it's such an inspiring love story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And being real, right?
Yeah.
Like figuring out what matters to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just so therapeutic to be able to just say your truth and let it be what it is and put it out there.
yeah, and it just feels pure to lead with pure love. I think that's what the world needs, and I hope that everyone finds the person that makes them feel that way.
Yes, that's an incredible message. And what's next for you guys? You said I can see you on a reality show or like a sitcom
Yeah.
Oh, I'd
being
love
made,
that.
inspired by by
Our
your
dream is a
lives.
podcast. I mean, we might have to
I'll
pick
be
your
happy.
brain
Well,
because
please,
yeah.
now we're besties. You know, we're
Exactly.
neighbors. We found out we're like neighbors.
know.
Really?
We're like we're not gonna say here on air where we live, but we're like a few blocks away from
Right.
each other.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's great.
We are making a short documentary
yes, about our wedding.
and our relationship.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I love that.
So hopefully going to film festivals in the next couple
Yes.
years.
Yeah, we
and
want to shout out Shark Pig Studios
Yeah.
because they're
they're
co-producing
it
with us.
Oh my
They're
God,
amazing.
yes.
They did
Came
it.
out to the wedding. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so all these things that will kind of get out of the sensational social media world and solidify our relationship and help people understand this is real and this is who we are in our lives. It will all help sort of the understanding grow.
And eventually we want a child, but then
Yeah.
everyone's like,
A1.
everyone's like, you have to give them a sibling.
I think that, again, that's a very personal choice, right?
Right.
You have to have
Exactly.
as many as you guys
Yeah.
think is good for
Yeah,
you.
kids are expensive.
They are. I also know
I
a
don't
lot
have
of
kids, but I have 2 dogs, and let me tell you, they are like kids.
They
They're
are
like
kids.
babies. They're my babies, and they're very
They're
expensive.
very
And kids are
expensive.
more
Mhm.
expensive. It's like a lot of work.
Yeah, totally.
But I can see you guys having a little one because
Yeah.
you're going to be amazing parents.
Thank
Just your
you.
energy is contagious. I'm insanely honored to have you here. And I hope we're going to do many more. I'm sure I'll invite you back because I know I'm going to get like hundreds of questions.
Oh my gosh, this was
gosh.
so fun. Anytime.
Yeah,
Thank you
we really
so
love
much.
You're
this.
amazing.
It's such an honor. Congratulations on the beautiful, beautiful marriage. Do you, other than the Instagram, the TikTok, I'm going to put the links on this episode so you guys can find them. Any
Amazing.
other links, anything else that you want me to tell? I think that's
Our
the main
YouTube,
one.
our YouTube is Sam and Jacob show.
Yeah.
And that one's growing too. We're starting to do more long form, trying to figure out the long form video thing there. So yeah, that one.
That's a fabulous idea for you too, because I can see you doing a lot of fun stuff on YouTube together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so creative. You're adorable. Thank you so much. And I think the message that I always try to say is like, love has no boundaries, right? No stereotypes. I can't stand when people put people in boxes and make decisions. And you guys like the perfect example for that. So guys, go look for love in any way, shape, form, person that shows up, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And don't stop yourself from loving somebody just because you feel one way or the other. If you're straight and you have a connection with the dude friend that's happens to be really close, just make it happen.
Love transcends.
Yes, thank you so much. It was such an honor having you guys.
Thank
You're
you,
amazing.
Kat.
Guys,
You're
be safe
amazing.
out there. I know it's the holidays. A lot of people feeling really lonely. So if you know anybody lonely, go give them a hug, go give them a kiss, bake them a cookie, spread love. I always say like spread love, especially during the holiday season. It can be really tough out there. Take care of yourselves. And this was a very special Kat on the Loose. I'm insanely happy and honored, and your love is inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat.
We'll see you guys very soon. Kisses, kisses, kisses.